The first Miami Vice episode of 1986 is an all-time classic. Definitely Miami was written by Michael Oneman and Daniel Pine and was directed by the Fast and the Furious's Rob Cohen, who does an exemplary job. This is probably my pick for the most visually stunning Miami Vice episode of all time. During a sweltering heatwave, a young man in a Porsche drives out to a sand quarry. In a sequence scored to Angry Young Man by Ted Nugent off his 1986 Little Miss Dangerous album, he meets a thug named Charlie, who is played by Ted Nugent. Go figure. Charlie shoots and kills the guy, then swipes a briefcase full of cash he was carrying with him and buries him and his Porsche in the sand. A very sweaty Crockett and Tubbs wait on a beachfront hotel patio to meet with an organized crime figure named Sergio Clemente, who is negotiating his surrender to the police to testify in front of a grand jury in exchange for immunity from prosecution. While the instrumental piece Europa, composed by Carlos Santana and performed by jazz saxophonist Gato Barbieri plays, Crockett's attention is grabbed by Callie, a beautiful young bikini-clad sunbather played by French-American actress and singer Arielle Dombasle, who is currently married to controversial French philosopher and provocateur Bernard-Henri Lévy. It's a very hot day, so Callie soaks her t-shirt in a bowl of Perrier before putting it on and whipping off her bikini, and it somehow manages to be both elegant and porny all at once. She flirts with Crockett by fishing an ice cube out of his drink and rubbing it all over her body before plunking it back in his glass. And seriously, lady, we just watched you oiling yourself up with sunscreen. Even though his drink has been tainted with Callie's Bain de Soleil, Crockett fishes the ice cube out of his glass and sucks on it in a blatantly provocative manner, because this heat wave is making everyone act super horny. Tubbs and Crockett are approached by a messenger for Clemente, who makes one demand. His sister, Maria Rojas, who is in witness protection herself for testifying against members of Clemente's crime family, must be waiting for him when he turns himself in. Castillo and Tubbs meet with Dalva, an agent with the Organized Crime Task Force in Washington, who's played by Albert Hall from Apocalypse Now and Ally McBeal. Dalva wants to comply with Clemente's request and drag Maria out of witness protection, but Castillo is strongly against this, arguing that they have no business disrupting the security of witness protection. Through her attorney, Maria flatly turns down the prospect of seeing her brother again because she's convinced he'll try to kill her. Crockett returns to the hotel and runs into Callie again, who seems deeply miserable about something. She tells him about her bad marriage to an abusive husband, and he offers to help her. Later, he meets her at her request at her hotel room, and she frantically tries to seduce him. Her husband, who is the murderous Charlie from the opening sequence, bursts into the hotel room, beats up Crockett, threatens to shoot him, and throws him out. Vice arranges for Clemente to turn himself in to the police. Since Maria Rojas refuses to cooperate, a decoy poses as Clemente's sister. Clemente is not fooled and aborts the meeting. Agent Dalva, who is a major tool, calls Castillo's superior to complain, and Castillo is forced to go along with Dalva's plan to pull Maria out of witness protection. Crockett fills Tubbs in on his escapades with Callie, and Tubbs tells Crockett he attracts some of the weirdest women in the Western Hemisphere. Crockett is never naive, so he knows something is deeply fishy about Callie. As he explains to Tubbs, he knows he's being set up, but he wants to see it through to the end. Crockett returns to Callie, who's been beaten up by Charlie in what she says was retribution for being caught in the hotel room with Crockett. She claims she was forced to lie to Charlie and tell him she and Crockett were only negotiating the purchase of 2 keys of cocaine from Charlie. Grim and exhausted, Crockett agrees to the deal. Later, Callie and Charlie conspire to rob Crockett of the coke money and murder him. In what passes for a moment of heartfelt tenderness from Callie, she asks Charlie not to shoot Crockett in the face. On the orders of Dalva, but against their better judgment, Vice yanks Maria Rojas out of protective custody. Maria, who is played by actress and activist Kamala Lopez, refuses to see her brother until Dalva threatens and browbeats her into cooperating. Under heavy security, Maria meets with Clemente as he turns himself into police custody. As Clemente embraces his sister, Maria whips out a knife and stabs him to death. Sobbing, she explains to the police that she had no choice because he was going to kill her. And sure enough, at that moment, a sniper hired by Clemente shoots and kills her. Dalva sits on the ground, realizing how horribly he's botched this case, while Castillo throws him some very impressive stink eye. At this point, the song Cry by the English rock duo Godley Creme strikes up on the soundtrack, and it'll play through the climax to the end credits. This is one of those songs that's inextricably linked to Miami Vice, though oddly it wasn't used in the original NBC broadcast of this episode. A Jan Hammer instrumental track was used instead, and Cry was substituted in later when the series was syndicated. As Cry plays, Crockett drives out to the sand quarry from the opening sequence to buy the 2 keys of cocaine from Charlie. Charlie shoots him, but Crockett blocks the shots with his handy bulletproof briefcase and, with an assist from Zito, shoots and kills Charlie. When police search the crime scene, they find numerous cars buried in the piles of sand, suggesting that Charlie and Callie have done this many times before. A grim and humorless Crockett meets Callie on the beach. She's surprised to see him alive, but she gamely pretends to be thrilled he's killed her husband. When a police helicopter lands on the beach, she realizes she's about to be arrested. She kisses Crockett goodbye, then heads off to flirt with the arresting officers, leaving Crockett alone on the beach. Great episode. For starters, it's beautifully filmed. Miami has never looked more gorgeous than it does here. It's also a great episode for seeing the toll the job is starting to take on Crockett. It's not as though he was in love with Callie, or even that he trusted her and she betrayed him. He's not surprised that the pretty lady just wanted to rob and murder him, but he's very, very disappointed. This episode's pretty legendary, with good reason, and I'm giving it 5 flamingos. Next time, Crockett investigates the drug-related death of his girlfriend. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you back here then. Goodbye.